episode of The It Factor. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson, and today we have someone special. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, I'm Jessica. I'm from Ohio and I am a web developer. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for being here on this great Saturday. And I would say my first question is, how are you doing mentally, physically, emotionally? How was your week?
So this week was crazy. I started a new position and it was totally different from what I was doing before. I was in the government space before this. And so I started a position at a company that is super creative. They give you like total, I wouldn't say total creative freedom, but it's just like night and day compared to what I was used to. So just getting through that, acclimating to getting my kids, staying on their schedule with this new schedule because I'm going from working from home to working outside of the house. So that was a lot mentally, but it was good. It was good.
All right, that's all right. So in that, you know what, man, one question I would ask, I ain't got a road, something that I would say, how do you like work from home versus working in the office? Or would you like to have both? Like, let me be able to work from home too.
Yeah, that's a good question because at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing both.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first month we were home and then they brought us in trying to do hybrid and they were like, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. And so they sent us home completely. And for those that were like me that had small children that were not necessarily ready for school,
Mm-hmm.
and, we didn't really want to put them in daycare, especially around that time, they allowed us to stay home full time. And then it just became like, okay, just stay home if you want to. And I got used to it. So honestly, I love working from home. I will say that I don't particularly enjoy hybrid or working in the office, but the new office I'm in is super chill. So honestly, it's kind of like working from home because nobody bothers me. So I'm just kind of like, I get the stuff from the designer and I go code it and they leave me alone. So
all right. See, that's what's up, man. I'm a software engineer as well. So like
yeah, that's awesome. Yes.
it's like now I work from home. And like
Okay.
it became more demanding for my company, being a big automotive company that it is. It came like, oh, y'all gotta work longer than so, and it sounds good, but it's like, Jeremy's still gonna leave at 3:30. Like, I'm not.
Right.
I'm
My cutoff time is my cutoff time.
I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
I ain't got time.
Yes.
But a lot of back and forth with that. So in the meantime, I have been like, okay, now, adjusting stuff and just trying to learn as much as I can before I make a pivot to being a college professor and also doing that on the side. So that's what's gonna happen with tech. Still want to do tech. I definitely want to be a full-time college professor.
Yeah.
And I would say, why do you do what you do? What is your it factor? Why you do what you do?
So I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a long time. So I'm 32. And I graduated high school in 08.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to start a YouTube channel back then, and I wanted to do like natural hair and all this stuff. And I'm like, thank God I did not do that because I don't really know how to do hair. So that would have been like short-lived. So I was like, I still want to be in that space because like my fiance is a videographer. And so I went to a performing arts school for my high school. So I've always been around creators. And so I knew I wanted to like share my story in some capacity, and I love to write. So I was blogging and doing things like that. But once I quit my job in the banking field back in 2018, I realized that, like that just wasn't my space. I was too closed in and I didn't like that. I need to be able to take what's in my mind and do something with it. So I started my YouTube channel. It was actually originally to inspire people to get more into like mental health and, just talking about things along those lines. And then slowly, as I started to find my way into tech, I started to do tech content. And then I realized other moms were out there trying to do the same things. Then I realized other Black people who were trying to do the same thing, and realizing that we don't have, I feel like a lot of people with social media growing, a lot of people are starting to put themselves out there. So we're starting to see more and more Black people in the tech industry. Right. But before, it's like, we're most times the only people in our spaces. So I felt like, what'd you say?
It's only one or two every now and then.
Yes.
Hey. you know.
Yes. Like on my team right now, it's me and the program manager.
Mm.
So that's it. And
It's
everybody else,
me and my manager. Me and my manager.
yeah. See, that's so crazy. So I felt like, the more I started to get comments, at first I was just putting it out, just put it out. And then I started to get comments like, oh my gosh, you inspire me. Or, I'm a mom too. And I noticed this Black women, and so I was just like, okay, this is bigger than me just putting out here that I learned how to code.
Right.
This is telling another mom that there's hope to change your life, because this literally changed my life. I'm not gonna lie. Like I didn't come up from, like, I didn't have a bad life at all. Like I, had a very stable home, and, I didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood or anything. But then when you become an adult and you have to go out there on your own, you don't always have the best footing. So, like I said this on one of my videos, I remember, I was in the house with my kids and somebody started shooting outside of our window. Like I was just not in the best apartment situation. So I was like, I got to do something. And so I taught myself how to code, and now we're here.
And that's amazing. Even in saying that, you would take it that's far to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and teach myself how to code. I got to get my kids out of this situation. I got to get myself out of this situation. And once I saw your YouTube channel, I was like, boy, I don't know if I could have taught myself to do this. Of course, I went to school with computer science and computer engineering. I went to Clark Atlanta University and graduated with a degree. But something's crazy? I taught myself how to code. The stuff I know today, I already taught myself. Granted, I did go to school, I did projects, things of that nature. The biggest thing that I do understand about school, yes, it does prepare you, but it don't prepare you for working in corporate America. Like I don't.
Not at all.
And I don't care what your profession is. A lot of people that I have interviewed over time, they say the same thing. Like, yeah, man, I was kind of prepared. I wasn't fully prepared. But third majors, yes, you probably do get that full preparation. But I feel like computer science, I was probably like at 80%. Like, okay, I can do this because of the internships I had. But so far at school, like I probably learned some good stuff to like go into a job like that first couple months. But after that, my mind got blown because I was like, oh, I need to know how to do this. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I know how to do this. Okay, cool.
And you end up teaching yourself anyway, like you said. And it's funny you said that because I heard someone else say that too. There's another YouTuber that I watch, and he was like, what's really the difference between going to school, boot camp, self-taught when it comes to the actual knowledge of something? Because you end up teaching yourself most in every situation anyway. So, but I do think that like being self-taught, at least from my perspective, has been overwhelming because you don't have a criteria to go by. Everything that you have to figure out what you need to learn is coming from yourself. You just have to get out there and research and build your own curriculum. Right. So yeah.
I can definitely understand that. Because even with now making that change to say, okay, I do podcasts and I do this, and you interview people. And at first I was like, I'm gonna do tech people, it's gonna be cool. But like you said earlier, it ain't that many Blacks that's in it. It seems as though it is, but some that's in it is some that not in it, some that's trying to straddle that line. And I was like, I know more people than people that's just in tech. But I'm always related to bring on people that's in tech. And like seeing stuff like what you do, it gives me hope to say, okay, more people might do this. Like more people might step out.
Right. And it's so important. That's another reason why I wanted to do this, is because I feel like it is important for people to understand that they can do it too. Like I'm not the smartest person. I barely made it through high school. And now that I'm older, I realize that was just me not applying myself. Yeah. But it's still a factor that, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this stuff. You just have to have a little bit of determination, I guess. Yes. And willpower, because
it's that
it gets crazy.
I say organization too. You had a little bit of organization will be the goodest, because like a lot of this stuff, one of my guys I work with, older guy, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna be phased out in a couple of years, y'all gonna be doing amazing things no matter if it's not tech, and he just said, because of the fact y'all learn all this stuff at a quick pace and stuff, just get something and move with that. Like, don't try to learn everything all at once.
Yes.
And also don't burn yourself out in this stuff. And I was like, okay, that's good to hear.
Yes.
Because we all think we have to, I need to learn Python. I need to do this. I need to learn. And they said, like, who is they?
That's the quickest way to quit.
Definitely.
That's the quickest way to quit, is to try to put too much on yourself, because one thing is way too overwhelming. And so you try to put 4 or 5 things and it's just too much.
Yeah, man. And
Yes.
one thing I'm learning, what I think this year 3 of me working full time, but 5 years and all of me working in tech. The
Hmm.
craziest thing about what I have been learning is that a lot of this stuff is copy and paste. A lot of this stuff been
Oh my
done.
God, yes.
And you go back and do it. It may be a letter, this thing down. This may not be. I'm
Yep.
working in data space because I was a software engineer,
Okay.
fully like just coding like he was doing. Coding, turn it in. I ain't got to do nothing with it. But as a
Yeah.
database person, you got to go through all the steps. And I'm sitting there like, I don't like this. Like, I do not
Yeah.
like this. Like, this is too much. I got to go do
Hmm.
this. And one thing I did learn from and I'm learning from it, doing it now. I'm actually good at this. Even though I don't like it, I'm actually good at it. So in that, I would
Yeah.
say, how did you know, like, okay, man, I can do tech? And then what outside hobbies that you do outside of tech that made you say, okay, I can do this and I can do other things that I like to do as well?
Yeah. So I think like when I first got into tech, I got into it on accident. And I like to tell the story because I want people to understand that you don't have to come from this I've been coding and building games since I was 5 and I've been,
I ain't know.
into tech since, you don't have to do that.
Right.
So I started off, like I said, my first passion has always been writing. I used to write poetry and just write little short stories and like play scripts. Now that is something I was doing as a kid.
Okay.
So it's just always been something that I love to do, that was my way of expressing myself.
Mhm.
So when I quit my job at the bank, I decided that I wanted to start a blog, and it was actually for stationery, so like paper, pens, notebooks, like stuff like that, because I love stuff like that too. And I was working on my own website. I went to New York to a stationery show. Um, and I got there and there were all these top brands that you would see like in Target and just like everybody in the planner community, these brands were there.
Mhm.
So I took my fiance, I told you he's actually a software engineer too, self-taught.
Oh,
And yeah, but his first love is videography. So I took him with me. I'm like, listen, we're just gonna go in there and be the media people. They don't have no media people, let's just go.
mhm.
So we filmed, we did all this stuff. And then when I got home, or like when I got there, everybody's like, so where's your website? I'm like, oh, I'm working on that. So as soon as I got home, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta put together this website. I gotta do this. So I started to build out a website. I started running into issues and I started to Google. So I'm like, how do I fix this? And that's when I found HTML. That's when I found CSS. And you find JavaScript, you just go down this rabbit hole.
Mhm.
And so I had to teach myself because at that time I didn't know anybody in tech. Because again, there's not that many Black people in tech. And so most times you're the only person in your family and then everybody else don't even understand what you're doing. Like you tell them what your job is and they don't even know what you're talking about. So they think that you can like fix their actual computer. And it's like, no, that's hardware. I don't do that. So
You hit a nail there, boy. That happened to me since
man,
I've been in college. You know something crazy though?
yeah.
I have learned how to fix computers and stuff like that, but
Have you see that's still
I have
not
learned how to do a little bit of double and dabble.
okay.
Because of some classes I took for engineering in college. I do know how to do
Okay.
certain things, but I don't let my family know that because they be like, "Hey, can
Yes.
you
Oh,
fix? Hey, you
you're
why
gonna be
you
the
can't fix
IT
my
guy.
internet?" My wife, I'm like, "You need to call AT&T. Don't call me.
Yeah. Yeah, not me.
Did you call the
Yeah, you're
people?"
gonna be the yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna be the IT person. It's like, nah,
Right.
that's not what I'm trying to do.
I didn't
So
do
yeah, just
anything. I don't do nothing
yeah,
in my daily life.
right.
IT work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pretty much being forced into that, I was like, oh, okay, like I can do this on my own. So what else can I do?
Mhm.
And then I'm like, I started researching it more and more. So I'm like, oh, you can get paid for doing this. And so it just became a spiral. And so that was honestly what made me feel like I could do it is because I was kind of put in a position where I was almost forced to do it because I didn't know anything about running a business,
Mhm.
asking somebody to do the website. I just knew to do everything by myself. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah, that's what made it click in my head that I could do it. And outside of tech, I love tennis. I love tennis. So I played in high school.
Mhm.
And now that I have 2 little girls, I'm like, oh, let me get them,
Yeah.
acclimated in some type of, sport. They do gymnastics, but I would love to teach them to play tennis. I had surgery on my leg last year. So I'm just now getting to a place where I can like exercise and get out there and do stuff again. So I'm really hoping to get back into that. But
Gotcha.
being able to take my passion of writing and filming, it kind of all works hand in hand because I can film my YouTube video and talk about what I'm doing in tech, but I also have to write because I have to write the scripts. And then if I want to start the blog, then I can write. So everything kind of just meshes, and that's how I'm able to maintain those outside things as well.
Yeah, and that's amazing for saying that, because I noticed that this morning. I'm about to finish up grad school, and I'm finishing up, and I'm doing my last class. And my professor was like, "How do
Uh-huh.
you balance? You writing a book, and you got a podcast, you do this. How do you balance all this stuff?" And I was like, "You said, it all goes hand in hand, because
Yeah.
podcast, I got to do stuff. What I'm writing about in the book is not only about the podcast, but about the art of networking. So, like, what I've been doing
Okay.
the past couple of years is me starting the podcast, and even just being in school. But all of it
Yeah.
do go hand in hand. And now that you said that, it is a full circle moment. I'm really doing that. And then
Yeah, it really is like all connected.
yeah,
It's like you already have to do this to do this. So it just kind of just meshes. You don't even really think about it. You just go. And it also goes back to what you said earlier. It's all organization too. Like you have to be organized. And I'm trying to get better at that because I'm not as consistent as I would like to be on my platforms. And then, life gets thrown at you. Like you said, a lot of stuff was going on. So, but you have to find that balance. So
yeah,
I
you
think
gotta get your
organization, like you
agenda,
said,
man.
is,
You gotta get
would
your
you say?
agenda. I tell every adult, we gotta get us agendas. We gotta stay in it.
Yes.
I got mine right here
Yes.
beside me, that and my
Do
notebook.
you? Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
wife, she look at me like, what do you be doing? I'm like, you should do it. And once you do it, she like, yeah, you act. I'm like, yeah, because all you gotta do is look. Oh yeah, I got to interview Jessica today. Okay, cool. I can
Yep,
remember
yep.
that. Nothing runs
And
into.
see, it's funny because in my house it's flipped. I'm the one with the agenda, and I'm still trying to get my fiance on board because he'll like be like, "Oh shoot, I forgot I had to do this and this and that." And I'm like, "Man, if you would have wrote it down." But see, I still have to use like my Google Calendar for things with actual times. I need to be alerted. So,
Same.
yeah,
I do need it. I need that time because I have everything lined up, and I'm like, all right,
yes,
cool. But I still need an alarm or something to go off. Like, oh, I got an interview to do. Okay. Oh, I got to write. I got to do this. Yeah, I got to do
gotta have that
it.
notification, but still have it in the books where, like you said, you can just flip to a page and be like, "Okay, this is my guide for today," basically.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yes, indeed. So, and I would say this goes along with that. How is it being a mother? You said you was 32. You had your fiance.
Yeah.
You got your kids.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
how is that journey? How is that?
So my fiance is my best friend. So everything we're kind of like here on everything.
Good.
We have a lot of the same interests in like we're both creatives. We love the tech space. Like it's almost like anything that one picks up, the other one picks up, and it just goes. And it is cool because we can help each other in that space. So seeing my babies, I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. Like I said, both girls, and they're just so funny. Like it is so funny to watch them because they're literally mini us.
Mhm.
Like so it can be kind of annoying and funny at the same time because you're like, oh shoot, is that how I used to act? And like, did you get that from me? But
Yeah.
they're so amazing. And I know everybody says it's about their kids, but they are so smart and they just are mind blowing. And it's funny because you start to watch them pick up a lot of the things that you're interested in. Like my 6-year-old will walk around with her. She has a little iPod because she ain't ready for a phone, obviously, but she has a little iPod, so she'll record herself vlogging and like my 3-year-old will get her little laptop and be like, I have to code and I have to learn about, like, she actually said something about JavaScript one day. So they're picking up everything. And I think that being a mother is also what really pushed me to like not quit as many times as I've wanted to. Even on this new job this first week, I'm like, ooh, what did I do? But then you look at them and they are motivation in themselves. Like they are the push that you need when you may not have it. So, but you also have to find balance because, and I struggle with that working from home, is how do I tell my 3-year-old that I'm working, but she can see me and she can sit on my lap. So she's like, what does that even mean? And I'm sitting here like, no, I really have to work. So it's like
Yeah, it's
always finding balance. So
definitely.
yeah, but other than that, I mean, you go through the mom guilt of because of the balance. You're like, am I spending enough time with them? And if am I telling them that I'm working too much? I'm always having to film, so I'm like, shh, be quiet. There's different factors that go into it, but overall, it's the best thing I think that could have happened to me.
Mhm.
Because I was the person who didn't always push myself, and I'm still learning to do that at 32. But now I have a reason because I need them to see that whatever they want to do, they can do it.
Yes,
So
yes, indeed.
yeah.
Yes, indeed. That's amazing, man. Definitely. I commend you for that, for being a great mom.
Thank you.
Everything you want to happen gonna happen, man. Pretty much what
Yeah.
I go for. Just to let you know that, just a touch of the iceberg to say, hey, just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. So before we
Yes,
do
you
close out,
too.
I have a question that like I love to ask, especially our people, man. What would you like to
Hmm.
see change in the Black community?
Ooh, that is a deep question. I think the mentality of our people
Mhm,
needs to change. I think that, and this is again speaking from my personal experience and my personal perspective,
mhm,
a lot of times I feel like you just, decades back, different scenarios, any type of situation you could think of, this has happened where Black people are not allowed to, how can I put this? We don't fully live out to our potentials. We
yes.
don't see the magic that we have within us. We don't see that anything any other race is doing, we can do too.
Mhm,
We don't always see the power that we hold and the influence that we hold and how many things are built around our influence. Everything, or a lot of things, root back to what we're already doing. And we just don't understand that we hold so much power.
mhm,
And so I have seen so many times where people are just like, oh, I can't do this, or, they got a head start, or this is not. It's like, no, like, yeah, we might have to grind a little bit harder because we don't get, we don't always have things handed to us right away.
right.
But I think that if people would change their mentality, because I had to,
Mhm,
I was that person saying like, I don't know what to do, or I can't do this. Like that was my vocabulary for years and years and years. And I think that it literally just takes a mental shift to
yeah,
know that if you want to build a home, go take the steps to do it, because nobody is stopping you but you.
mhm,
There's nobody holding us back but us. So I think that that's the biggest thing, is like, if we can change our mental as a community, man, listen.
yeah. You're definitely right about that because I feel like throughout the show, right? I started
Hmm.
in my apartment with my line brothers and one of my best friends, and we was in there, had a mattress in the back the first episode. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, cool, we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep pushing. And my boy was like, yeah, you keep the content going. He's a videographer as well. He like, hey, I'm gonna do it,
Okay.
I'm gonna edit everything, we're gonna be good to go. And he been doing that
Hmm.
from this time, man. And we about to go into season 4.
That is
So as
awesome.
time went, I bought a home. Of course, I'm about to get married, what, in 2 weeks now? Like it's different things that happen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And like now I got my home man cave where it's my studio now, and I'm able to run a business out of it. But I brought
Yep.
one of my guys in here, like a guy that I watched. He played ball at home. He's in middle school when I think I was in what I think I first entered college. Now he finished high school. I feel a little bit older, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you in college, man? You want to come on to the show? Yeah, come on." He came on to the show. First time he walked in here, you got football stuff everywhere, stuff like that. He's like, "Yeah, I want this, man." I was like, "Yeah, you can have it. If I can do it, you can do it."
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. And
and
people
that,
think that that is such a cliche, and like that that's just so like, you know, people, everybody gonna say that, but that is the truth. And
that's the truth.
that is, there is nothing like, that is true.
Yeah,
And I think that it's so important for us to
mhm.
keep pushing that narrative, is that if I can do it, you can do it. But let me actually show you.
Let me show you
Let
how.
me actually show you where I came from. Like, don't be afraid to show that. Like, that's why I tell, like, there were people shooting outside of my window. Like, I'm
Mhm.
going to tell people
Show
that,
you.
because I think that
Yeah,
it's important for people to know that. Like, that's where I was, and this is where I'm at now. And, I'm
mhm.
still trying to climb. I'm still not where I want to be.
Yeah,
But I know now that literally just me having confidence, in the fact that I know that I can do something, and actually just not thinking about how hard it's going to be, but just taking those steps every single day,
yeah.
you get there and you don't even notice. And then you just look up one day like, oh, shoot, like I'm here.
Mhm. Yeah, he was really
Like,
talking about the stuff, and I was sitting there like, "Hey, you're right. Thank you, man.
yeah,
Cool.
yes,
I
yes,
guess that's what I'm
yes,
supposed to do." And I said, "Well, you'll be
yeah,
next, man, and then we're gonna keep it going, And everybody always say that. My friends, our family said, I'm like, yeah, this what I'm glad God blessed me with these things, And at the end of
yes,
the day, I'm thankful for the house, but I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful to be able to do
yes,
the things that I'm here to do, But
yes.
I really do think that this podcast, every time I think I want to walk away, I always be
Hmm.
like, oh, no, no, come on back.
Yep.
Always happens.
Yes. I think that that's like a commonality between creators in
Yeah,
general, because there's been so many times where I'm like, what the heck am I doing this YouTube for? Why am I, you question yourself so much, but then you look up and realize it's those comments that
yeah,
come in that say like, you helped me choose my major, or I'm like, somebody just commented on one of my videos that they just took their first paid internship because they decided to go learn tech because they saw my video about me quitting my job. So what you're doing is important, it's needed, and you're not always going to want to get on camera or like try to plan stuff. It's overwhelming, it's a lot of work, but the reward is like so much bigger. And these things that you're doing are bigger than you, and they are impacting people in ways that you probably don't even realize. So I say keep going.
Definitely gonna keep doing that. So
Yeah.
before we do close, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So along the lines of us being creators, like for us, it's kind of easy for us to just hop on here, get on camera, film, whatever. But there's a lot of people, a lot of Black people that don't like to be on social media, or they don't want to be on camera, but they still are doing amazing things, and they still need to use their voices to share in their communities, to be that face that inspires people in spaces that you may not see us in all the time. So what advice would you give to people who need to share their voice, and how can they do that if they're not like into, because I've run into some people like that. I'm like, you should be talking about this. And they're like, I don't always know what to say as far as like, what is the alternative? Like, what's your advice?
My biggest advice is I'm that person. Call me. We can work
Yeah.
through it. I have done it with friends, family, people I have just met. Like, hey, and they started their channel or they started a vlog or anything of that nature. The biggest thing is when it comes to social media, like Kevin Hart said a few weeks ago, I was watching on a podcast. We got to remember that it's a part of our network and it's fake. Like it's over here. Like it's not even that super serious. So, but when you come on there with some knowledge and you want to talk about something, I feel like you use it for that time and then you sit it down. I feel like the biggest thing is practicing as well. Like get you a group of person, like it can be your friend, it can be anyone that like, hey, I'm gonna record you, we good to go, and y'all can talk through it. But also that's where I come in. You can call me and say, hey, or email me and say, hey, can you walk me through how you do so, and I'll give you advice because I feel like that's what we're here for. When it comes
Yes.
to us being creators, that's also one of our duties. To do it, because people like, you interview this big name ball player, man. How you do that? Then you go interview this regular person. I'm like, man, we people at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
We're all people. Yeah. I
They put
love
on their
that.
pants one leg at a time like me, man.
Yeah.
I don't really overthink it when it comes to it. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people just have to get out and do it. That's what I did when it
Yeah.
came to this podcast. I was nervous about it. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is people gonna listen? But then you
Uh-huh.
say, hey, am I doing the best thing for Jeremy? Like this is what Jeremy
Yes.
wants. So no matter what
Yes.
people think or what they say, I put out an episode, Jessica, and it can get 3 views. I don't care
Yeah.
because it inspired those 3 people.
Exactly. And see, I'm
So
trying to learn that too. It's like not thinking about the longevity necessarily, but how can I take this, and it's still in the atmosphere. Somebody's going to get benefit from it. And even if it was just for me to talk, because sometimes we be talking to ourselves a lot
yeah.
too during these filming sessions. Like,
About that.
yeah. So you helping yourself just by talking about it. So
And
yeah,
I just try to
I
be
love that.
with those people. I'll just try to say, like, the biggest thing is try to be more impactful. If you see
Yes.
something that needs to change in the world and your content is it, be impactful. And it's our duty to, like I said, to help them. And don't try to think on like, dang, they not gonna watch it. They're not gonna watch it because you haven't put it out yet. That's
Exactly.
the
And
only
you spending
reason.
so much time thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And to also be authentic on, or like try to be your most authentic self on camera, because I feel like the more relatable you are, the better, because we have to see people that are actually like, oh, they talk like me. They
Yeah.
love sneakers like me. Like they dress like me. So just being yourself too is like, 'cause I feel like a lot of people get a lot of pressure. Like, oh, I have to be super like upright and I got to talk a certain way. And then it's like, no, just be yourself at all times.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
have
love that.
a lot of interviews, and a lot of people that say, "Hey, how I need to talk?" I'm like, "You can do whatever you want. You want to cuss? You want?
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a
Yeah.
podcast. This is what we're here for, And that's also why I love in-person episodes, because before they walk into the door, I'm like, "Hey, before the camera come on, be you. Just if you don't
Yes.
see the whole Jeremy, I'm gonna always be me.
Yes.
So definitely,
And that's important because our voices are very important. And I don't think that people, like I said before, Black people don't always realize all the power that they just hold within themselves. And, it's already in you.
Mhm.
So just put it out.
Indeed. But it was
Yeah.
nice meeting you. It was nice
You
having you on the
too.
podcast. And I look
Thank
forward
you
to
so
working with you,
much.
man. Like, reach out to me
Yes.
anytime you need something or anything comes up. I'm just glad we was able to pull it off, man.
Yes, exactly. Same here, and same here. If you need anything you need help with, like I said, I need to get back down to Atlanta. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
All
I'm excited. Thank you so much.
right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.